One of the more interesting topics in psychology is cognitive bias. The term was coined by Daniel Kahneman. He's a behavioral economist. Actually, I think he founded the field of behavioral economics with Amos Tversky. So, the idea of cognitive bias is that our brains are wired to handle a different environment than the one we're in. Evolutionarily, we were prepared to deal with physical threats, hunger, primitive times. Now things are much more civilized, and but our brain still uses the old shortcuts and heuristics that we had back then. So our cognitive biases are actually there to save us time and energy and to reduce overall risk. Part of how we stereotype is based on certain biases as well. It's useful to understand these biases so that you can identify when you're being affected by them and take steps to ameliorate them, like asking someone else to verify your decision making and things like that. So, some examples of bias are recency bias. We'll tend to prioritize things that were more recent, even if they're less important or less impactful. There's anchoring bias, where this is kind of related to recency bias. We tend to anchor around something. So, the idea is, for example, if you open a negotiation with a high number, then everyone is psychologically anchored around that higher number. And if someone opens with a lower number, then the same for that lower number. So getting to throw out the first number can be an advantage in negotiation situations. There are also biases like the halo effect, where we basically believe that people who are attractive or good looking are more likely to be morally good people, and people who look bad or unattractive are people who are morally bad. And this is obviously terrible if you're hiring for, a merit position or making a decision based on skills or merit. You want to be able to eliminate the person's appearance from the equation so that you do get the best outcome, the best candidate. The other interesting thing about biases is when you start to identify them and see them, you can actually begin to build systems that hold you and other people accountable. And with this, you actually build an edge over people who are not aware of their biases because they'll end up making worse decisions. And ultimately, making good decisions is the foundation of succeeding at anything. Cognitive biases also create an interesting rift between people. Um, because if you find someone who has practiced a bit more around their biases, you'll just find that they are judging people differently. They're looking at different metrics. They might be more data driven. Biases really benefit from playing off of your feelings and from playing off of your gut instinct. I know there's a lot of advice to like follow your gut, but when it comes to things like biases, your gut ends up misleading you a lot of the time because it really was evolved to deal with, tiger in a bush scenarios, where today the stakes are a lot lower. You can afford to take more time to deliberate, and you can afford to go back on decisions and make reversible mistakes and so on. But yeah, which cognitive biases do you think you're most susceptible to?